Hello, eller. Welcome to Kilted Swede. It's been a while. K words in Swedish can be challenging. Either a hard K sound or a soft sh sound. Sh. Knowing which one goes where on which word is difficult. I found it nigh on impossible when I was learning Swedish, and it's something that gave me quite, it was a bit of a hurdle to come over, really. And I mean, I asked Swedes about it in the beginning, in the early days, and I didn't really get a solid answer. Nobody really seemed to know an exact rule, a rule of thumb, a sort of trick, code, if you like, something that would help you remember. There was just that sort of, well, you just have to learn it. You have to get these words in your vocabulary, and then you just know. And I can honestly say to you, the only thing that really helped me was time and just learning these words, getting them into my vocabulary, and just feeling, knowing if it was a hard K or that softer sh sound. I have some examples. I did a bit of brainstorming and I thought of not all of the K words that I could possibly think of, but focusing in Swedish, I went through the alphabet and I sort of thought, okay, K, and then especially vowels, focusing on vowels afterwards, if there was a pattern. I did find a sort of pattern, but I can't really, there's one exception as well. There's always an exception, isn't there? I'll go through the list and then maybe you can make sense of what I have discovered, because I can't. Here we go. Right, hard K sounds, okay? A, O, U, and O. The A with the ring above it. O. So A, O, U, O. In Swedish, A, O, U, O. We'll take A to start with. Kan, katt, kall, kaka. Now O, or O in Swedish. Ko, kolla, kollaps, komma. U, or U in Swedish. Kul, kudde, kurra, kunde. Now I kind of like that, not that. O. I've tried to find 4 for everyone, but I could only get 3 here. I maybe didn't try hard enough. Kol, kåsa, kåpa. Hard K. Now let's go to soft K, sh sound. So we've got E, I, Y, ä. Take that in Swedish. E, I, y, ä. I then. Kemi, keramik, kedja, kejsare. I, kika, kikare, Kina, kilo. Y, kyrka, kyla, kylskåp, kyckling. Ä, käk, käka, kär, känna. Okay. Maybe that's a rule. I did go through all of these 8 letters, so A, O, U, O, hard K, E, I, Y, ä, soft K, sh. I couldn't find any words with A, O, U, O, or E, I, Y, ä that had both sounds. They were either one or the other. So, I've grouped them up. Let me know in the comments if you find any others that I have missed, because it's entirely possible. Or is it? One letter, one vowel, vokal, remains. A, O, with 2 dots above it. This one I did find exceptions for, albeit not many, but I did find some. some head scratching was involved, and I don't know why, it just is. One word I could maybe understand because it's a city in a different country, and sometimes you follow the original sound even though you might adapt the word to your own language. The city in question is Cologne, which is called Köln in Swedish with a hard K. K-O with dots, L-N, Köln, which it's also called in German with the same spelling. So that explains that. There is one other example I found. Kö, queue. If you're queuing at the supermarket, you're standing in the queue. Du köar. It's K-Ö, kö, hard K. The other examples I have are soft K, sh sound. Köp, kör, kött, kök, kön, köl. So what have we learned from all this? There is potentially a rule or a correlation or a pattern here. A-O-U-O, hard K, if the K is followed by any of those letters. E-I-Y, A with two dots. Soft K, sh sound, if the K is followed by any of those letters. And then the O with two dots. Majority of the words will be a softer sh, K sound, but a couple of exceptions. I don't know if there's a rule. Whatever the case, the only thing I can say to you from my experience is K words are really tricky when you're a beginner, when you're learning Swedish. Stick at it, don't let it get to you, and just, take your time and learn it. I've saved the best to last, I think. There is another word that begins with a K, which is pronounced both ways by Swedes, depending on geography. Now, I believe that the only place this word is pronounced with a soft sh K is Gothenburg, Göteborg. Everywhere else they say Kex with a hard K, because that's the word Kex, K-E-X. It means kind of wafer cracker biscuit, but my interpretation is wafer, like the filling of a Kit Kat, for example, or indeed Kex choklad, the bar that literally says K-E-X, Kex on it. Now, calling that SHEX for people who don't pronounce it like that, just ask them, they'll tell you. They'll usually do a face palm or something along those lines. And when you get a feel for it, I agree with them. But the funny thing is, on doing this list of words, looking up, breaking it down, looking for a rule, looking for a pattern, where's the E? It's on the soft side, it's on the sh sound. Chemie, keramik, kedja, kejsare, whatever else you might find with a K and an E. Kex. So if Kex really is, as I have always believed, pronounced with a hard K, it's an exception to the rule that I have found. Who knew? So the Gothenburgers are right. Oh no, what have I done?